Hi, I'm Tatum, and welcome to my tessellation project. A tessellation is a pattern of repeating shapes that completely covers a flat surface without any overlaps or gaps. At any vertex, the interior angle of the shape must add to 360 degrees. I began by using the regular polygon tool to create a large rotated square because it tessellates. I then used the segment tool to divide the square into 4 equal quadrants. Next, I used the midpoint tool to create midpoints on each segment and each of those smaller segments. This gave me a clear structure and outline to work with. Then I used the polygon tool to make a triangle using the midpoints. I then reflected the shape over the vertical line and then both those shapes over the horizontal line and made the opacity of all of them 0. To build the central pattern, I started by creating an equilateral triangle to the left of midpoint J. One con about this is that I couldn't perfectly replicate the triangle because there wasn't a distinctive point for point O. Next, I added rays from point P to the bottom side of the triangle so that the entire shape would move together. Then I made the opacity 0. After, I created 3 segments that attached the rays and ended at point O. I then selected this and rotated it around point G by 60 degrees. Next, I created a midpoint of O1 and O. Then I created 2 segments attaching O and midpoint U while anchoring them to the rays. I then selected that and rotated it around point U by 180 degrees. Next, I made my newly made shape into a polygon using the polygon tool and then hid the triangle and rays in the algebra section. Using the rotate around point tool, I then rotated my new shape by 60 degrees 5 times. Next, using the semicircle tool, I created a semicircle and reflected it over the horizontal line so that it created a big circle. Next, I rotated the top side and bottom shape by 120 degrees. I then rotated the right side shape by 180 so that it was facing the same direction as the other side. Next, I created midpoints of CE. I then used the polygon tool to create an upside down triangle. Next, I created midpoints of the triangle and the sides around it and used those to create a square using the regular polygon tool. I then used the translate by vector tool to translate the square on the other side of the upside down triangle, using the upside down triangle as a vector. I then reflected that over the horizontal line so it showed up on the other side. I then created midpoints of LB, I1B, and I1E. I then used the polygon tool to create a trapezoid using those midpoints. Next, I created the midpoint of BM and used the polygon tool to create a triangle. Next, using the reflect about a line tool, I reflected that whole thing over the vertical line so that it showed up on the other side. I then hid all of the points in the vertical and horizontal segments in the algebra tab, and then colored my tile. I then tessellated it.
Mary, did you know that your